The Wars Against Saddam, written and read by John Simpson. Ever since July 1979, when Saddam Hussein elbowed his way to supreme power in Iraq, much of my career has been spent reporting on the remarkable twists and turns his life has taken. I recorded his gangsterish beginnings, and the years when the British and American governments regarded him as their bulwark against revolutionary Islam, and finally the time when they decided he himself represented a threat to them and would have to be stamped out. One of the advantages of being in the job as long as I have is to be able to watch a shooting star like Saddam all the way from the first moment he appeared in the firmament to the time when he passed out of our sight. The pattern has never been smooth. After the first Gulf War, I wrote that it was like reporting on a football match from a position behind one of the goals. When the action was down at my end, I had a superb vantage point. But when the players streamed away to the far end of the pitch, it was hard to see what was going on. After that, it was as though I had left the ground altogether. For 12 years, the Iraqi authorities refused to allow me back to Baghdad. But I finally returned in 2003 and found myself another seat in a different part of the stadium. My instinct was to be an independent, out in the open, but I knew the murderous possibilities only too well. No man's land would be the most dangerous place imaginable, filled with resentful Iraqi soldiers who'd be only too happy to kill you, and the chances of being attacked by the American forces were very high. The Americans were probably more dangerous than the Iraqis, I thought. I believed it would be safer, on balance, to be in Baghdad, and events proved me right. Being out in the open cost the lives of 4 good and valued colleagues. Everyone in my own team was injured, and I was left with a limp and permanent deafness in one ear. So, with only 3 or 4 weeks to go before the war started, I asked someone to approach a particular Arab government on my behalf. Its leader had always been friendly to me, and I thought he might help. He did. A message was sent to the Iraqi Information Minister, Mohammed Saeed al-Sahaf, asking him, as a personal favour, to let me in. I was in Turkey on my way to northern Iraq when the call came through on my mobile phone. "Congratulations, John, you have your visa to Baghdad." I was overwhelmed. It was the answer to all my problems. A week later, there was another call. "I don't know how to say this, John, but they aren't going to give you a visa after all. Al-Sahaf says he doesn't want you there." I was angry and depressed and more than a little nervous. Now my war would be fought out in the open, with no protection from either side. The last chance was gone. By a ludicrous synchronicity, at the very end of the war, 3 days before the Americans entered Baghdad, al-Sahaf relented. It was the afternoon of the day when my team and I were nearly killed by an American air-to-ground missile. I stumbled into my hotel room, my clothes torn and blood-stained. My mobile phone rang. "Al-Sahaf says you can go to Baghdad at any time you want now." But then, of course, it was far too late to get there. A couple of months later, still deaf, still limping, I was back in London. Baghdad had long since fallen, and nothing had been heard from al-Sahaf since he had vanished at the end of the war. He had become a figure of absurdity because he had denied the obvious approach of the Americans until the very last moment. Comical Ali, the British press called him. I was invited to a restaurant to meet my friend, the man who had acted as a go-between to try to get me a visa. The place was dark and noisy, and I had difficulty hearing. "Al-Sahaf wants you to help him." Well, I explained what al-Sahaf could do to himself. But the go-between was insistent. Al-Sahaf had done me a real favour, he said. The story, he told me, was as follows. The officials in the Ministry of Information
Sample complete. Ready to continue?